Welcome to our third annual women's event, Reinvent You, Transform to Achieve Health, Wealth, and Happiness. Oh, me, hey, I'm Dr. Lisabeth Saunders Medlock from Life by Design Coaching. So each year we've done something different. The first year was a new you, last year was renew you, and this year is reinventing yourself. And that's what we're all going to talk about, is kind of the process of reinventing yourself and transforming yourself. I really think that reinvention is key to moving forward, but also key to kind of what keeps you going in life. I have reinvented myself many different times in many different ways, mostly on the inside, sometimes on the outside. You know, today I have my hair weave in. I have short hair, long hair, but I've reinvented, you know, myself many times, had different careers, different things happen to me. And I think that my ability to reinvent and transform and not get stuck is what's constantly propelled me to take risks and try new things. So it's been a big part of my life. And if you look at my website, I have that word reinvention all over the place. Okay, so a little bit about me and my process of how I'm, you know, reinventing myself. How many of you were here last year? What am I asking? I can't see. Not that, oh, we have a lot of new people. Okay, so last year I talked about, in Renew You, I talked about going through a major life transition. So, you know, a year and a half ago, I had a weird accident and became legally blind, visually impaired. So I went from being a sighted person to being a visually impaired blind person. And for those of you that know me, you know, saw me last year, has my vision changed? The answer is no. My vision has not gotten better. It's not going to get better. I have retinal damage. So when you saw me last year, it was just months after the accident. I'm a year and a half after the accident. And I've begun to really kind of live my life as a visually impaired person, but done all different kinds of new sorts of things as one, like learn how to play the drums, salsa dancing. I'm going to do a triathlon this year. So I'm constantly saying, okay, what am I going to do new and different and, now that I'm visually impaired, but also just continuing to challenge myself. So reinvention for me is an ongoing process of now my new life as a visually impaired person, but just as me, dealing with different things in my life. What you see that I talk about is, I think that everyone constantly goes through the process of reinvention and transformation. Even though sometimes we don't call it that, when any major life change happens to us, whether it be by choice or by chance, some stuff happens to us, right? My big thing, last year I came and said, oh, I got knocked out in the eyes, my retinas. So this year, does anyone read my blog? I have that Crazy Blovy Girl blog out there. If you read my blog, I thought I found my life partner and I was going to get married. I got dumped 3 weeks ago. So I'm being serious. So 3 weeks ago, I thought I was going to get like married and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden it was like, I don't want to be married and raise a child. And I was like, okay, thanks for being honest. So again, I had to shift my whole life thing to I'm going to be married and relocate and blah, 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 and have a stepdad for my child to, okay, plan A, we're going to go back to doing the, you know, single mommy thing and kind of constantly shift that. So again, some things are by chance, right? Some things happen to you can't control, and some things are by choice, where you look at your life and you say, hey, I'm not happy, I need to transform myself. I mean, how many in this room have said, you know, can say to yourselves, I've been through a transformation or a reinvention in my life, right? So what types of things happened to you where you transformed yourself? Career changes. What else? Right. What else? Moving. Going back to school. Wait, say it again. Stroke. Yep. Medical things. Cancer. Retirement. Marriage. Divorce. Kids leaving. Right. All different kinds of things. And so the process of reinvention is what keeps us kind of moving forward that. What I say in my handout is reinvention is for everyone, it's accessible to everyone, and really it's not even a choice, it's really a necessity. Because if you don't constantly reinvent and transform yourself, what happens is you begin to stagnate, right? You don't grow, you don't change, and you get stuck in the mud. And when you get stuck in the mud, you're treading water. And treading water feels terrible. So reinvention is, I think, a necessity more than a choice. And reinvention is available to anyone at any age. The transformational process, it's not for the young, it's not for the wealthy, it's not for the fabulous, it's for everybody. You can reinvent yourself at 75, 80 years old. You can reinvent yourself if you're healthy. You can reinvent yourself if you're not healthy. Again, I say it's for everyone. And everyone can do it. You may need a little bit of help, but you can do it. The other thing that I think is important about transformational processes is that it doesn't have to be awful. Now, sometimes it doesn't feel great. But what I've learned in my process of transforming myself and living my life differently now is that some of it is scary good instead of scary bad. Does everybody know what I mean by scary good? You know what I mean? So some stuff is scary and challenging, but in a cool, new, and exciting way. So transformation doesn't have to be all this stinks, this stinks. Okay, some of it is. But a lot of it is oh, interesting, cool, I took a risk, this happened. Can be new, exciting, and challenging. So I put some points in here, and I'll put my personal experience of my process of transformation, of transformation in the steps. And the first step, and I don't know what time it is, somebody has to wave at me. I may see or I may not. The first step for me in reinvention is doing intentions and affirmations. How many people in here use affirmations, intentions, mantras? Okay, I'm all about that. And what I found is that the first stage in reinvention is using intentions and affirmations to clear out all the negative stuff and do your intentions about what you want in your life. And what I'm doing right now, post getting dumped, which is, it's an awful way to say it, but how else can we say it? Post-dump, that sounds terrible. Oh my God, post-breakup, is a lot of it is just I forgive the other person, I forgive them for being betrayed, for feelings of fear or betrayal, I'm open to new opportunities. You do a lot of, I think, what I find is I do a lot of releasing of anger, of fear. I do a lot of forgiving, which is really important in my releasing process. But to me, a lot of my mantras or intentions are not just what I want to happen. I got to push out a lot of stuff with that. I forgive the part of me that did this. I forgive the part of me that did this. I forgive the part of them that did this. How many people do that? The forgiveness and clearing out step is important. And then you can do your affirmations and intentions for what you want in your life. Some things, what the most powerful one that I think I do is I trust in God. That one every day. I trust in God. I trust in the universe. And the other one I always say that I think is really important is I am open to all opportunity. I am objective and I see all. Everything is available to me. That one's, I think, are really powerful. The idea that anything can come into your life and there's abundancy out there for you. And you can do even more specific things about what you want to bring into your life. I will create a wonderful new job. I will do this. I want this to come in life. I am open to a partner, a loving partner. Intentions and affirmations are powerful. There's something to hold on to and do daily. They begin to really shift the way that you see the world and the way that you see other people. The second thing on the list that's very important is to have a clear sense of who you are and what your purpose in life is. Because what happens is that you lose your way on the path, or the path gets taken out from you. Something happens to you, like what just happened to me 3 weeks ago, and it was very sudden, where you go, woo, I'm going down the path, and crap. Can I say crap? Crap, right? Bloop, wall. How many people has that happened to, right? Wall, right? Bloom. And you're going, whoa, hey man, I'm not going down that path. But I know what my purpose is, right? I know what my vision is, I know what my purpose is, and I know where my strengths are as a human being. So I know how to bust through that wall, break it down, kick it open. One door has closed, I know how to kick the other doors open, and I can maybe see other paths. And there's gonna be lots of paths. But basically what you're able to do is to say, this is where I can make my contribution. This is where I think my purpose is, and this is what I'm really here for. And if you know that, then you'll begin to see the multiple paths and opportunities available to you. And it will ground you, because what happens that I say is, my analogy of it all is that you're standing and sometimes the ground shakes. Have you ever had your ground shake? Your foundation shakes. You shake, your core shakes. And what happens if you go like this and you tense up and the ground is shaking? What happens if you go like this? You move with it. And even more importantly, what happens if you jump off of it and decide to look at it from above? You're not even on the shaky ground. And so when you look at it from above and you know your overall purpose and vision, it's almost like you float above the ground that's shaking and you look out and say, I know that that's where I'm supposed to be out there and that's where I'm getting to, and you open up all the paths available. Like, I think that's where I am right now. I feel like I told somebody I was floating, but I was going to come down soon, and I let them know when I came down, and I land on one of those paths. The third thing then I think that people get caught up is don't freak out about the next step in the how. I think when you get caught up in the how, then you don't let the universe work and you don't see all possibilities and you don't take the time to sit in the present moment. What I find is people think that they can control their lives and they can engineer and they're going to know the next step. What have you found about the next step? What have you found about the next step? Do you really know what your next step is all the time? I step out on limbs all the time. Hope the hell they don't break. You know, and if they break, I got a net to catch me, baby. That's my philosophy. But do we really know the next step? When I look down that path, there's a lot of weeds in my way and a lot of bushes. I got to hack through them with my knife most of the time because I don't know where my next step is. And what happens is if you get caught up in the how am I going to do this, how am I going to do this, how am I going to do this, then you forget to look at the bigger picture, which is to sit with the what do I want, what's available to me, and really work on those intentions. The how will get you stuck because you'll begin to nitpick about and get tense about, you know, what's my next step? I got to correctly engineer it. You have to be creative in your life. And the other thing is when you get caught up in the how and you get into your rational engineering mind about doing the how, you forget about the intuitive voice inside you, right? That voice that's speaking to you that you need to be hearing. And each next step in your life, when you're looking at those paths, and some of them have briars and some of them have roses, and sometimes the roses are really the briar patches, right? And sometimes the briar patches are easier to get through. And so when you think about it, you have to hear that inner voice that kind of guides you down the paths. And also you need to use that intuitive sense, that creativity, and what I put is each step you take should be exciting and new and creative. So don't get up in the how, you know, put your foot out, kind of test the waters, and the how we'll never know. Just take the step. The other thing I say is that you need to slow down to speed up. After I had my accident and I became visually impaired, I was drawing runes. Has anybody ever drawn runes out of the bag and read the runes? It's kind of powerful. They say all these things. My rune said, this is the time of waiting. This is your time of waiting. This is a time of stillness. And what I think that means when we say you slow down to speed up, what I've learned in my life, in fact, actually my drum teacher told me this recently, the harder the drum beats that you play, people try to rush through it when it gets harder, but you really need to do is actually slow down when life gets harder. And so this idea is to just wait it out. And that's why I think transformation for a lot of people is so difficult, because the period of waiting feels uncomfortable because it doesn't feel like anything's happening, right? You're putting all that stuff out there, you're working on yourself from the inside out, and you go, not a darn thing is happening. Wait a minute. Why isn't my new job coming? Why isn't my new man coming? Why isn't this coming? Have you ever been like that? Where you're like, I've been working hard as heck, man, on myself, and nothing's happening, nothing's happening. But I think what I've found, that being in that place of nothing's happening forces you, as Oprah always says, to be in the now and be in the present, and again, to be really thinking more about your next step. I think the reason, I'll just put it out there, I was in the waiting, and I started my eHarmony experience, which if you read my blog, I call it eHelmony, and went on the worst dates of my life. So the first guy I thought was great because I was comparing him to the hell dates I had been on before. People are shaking their head because they know what I'm talking about. So what happened is I think I jumped too soon into my relationship. I had been single for 10 or 11 months. I think now when I look back on it, I forgot to slow down, to speed up. I was trying to speed things up. And I think I jumped at something that I should have probably tested out and passed on. Does that make sense? Because I was like, okay, I've been doing this, self-transformation stuff. This looks good. And I think that's what happens to us a lot of time. We forget the kind of idea of slowing it down, being in the now, and not worrying about kind of what comes next. The other thing I think I put was take action, right? I think what goes along with that, the slowing down to speed the process up, to staying in the moment and thinking about the moment, is that you do have to do something. What really sometimes annoys me, I'll just say it, is that people that think that I can read every self-help book and say lots of positive stuff, but I can sit on my butt and do nothing. You're laughing because you know these people, right? And they read book after book after book and listen to speaker after speaker after speaker after speaker. And what do they do, people? What do they do to change their lives? Nothing. And so taking action is important, because you can do all the other stuff on this list, and you can kind of, do all the positive thinking, read all the self-help books, and in the end, you have to do something. And you know what? It may not feel comfortable. There's that term that I use all the time, you fake it till you make it, right? Sometimes you fake it. If you have an idea, test it out. Test the waters. Here's your path. You may not be able to see it clearly. There may be those bushes. You get out your knife, you clear a path, and you go, right? Ooh, this is okay. Ooh, this is okay. I'm testing it out. I'm testing it out. So don't be afraid to fake it till you make it. Act as if you are who you want to be, and test things out. The ideas that come into your head, do them. Heck, when an idea comes into my head, I do it. I mean, the whole drumming and salsa, now I want to be in a dance troupe, doing a triathlon. If I get the crazy idea in my head, I go, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to do that. Let's see if I can do it. And sometimes I can't. I go, oh, dang, I can't see enough to do that. And sometimes I go, I can see enough to do that, right? I can actually accomplish this. So you have to take action at some point. And it may not feel great, and it may feel like the ground is still shaking, but you kind of got more balance. And remember, now you're going with the flow, so now you can kind of walk like this. And even if the ground is swaying, you're swaying too, so you're doing cool because you floated, now you've come down and you're on the ground. And the last thing I think I put in there was get support. What happens in the process of transformation, and I know that you know people like this and you of this, not everybody supports your transformation. Has anybody had that happen to them? And people actually try to sabotage your transformation because they don't want you to change. Other people sometimes, not just in relationships, but friends, girlfriends, sometimes don't want you to change because they want you to be how you are because that has served their need. And so sometimes it's hard to go to friends and family for support because your friends and family are kind of undermining you. Has anyone ever had that happen? So what I say is get support outside your normal realm of people, with people like me, coaching. A lot of people come to me when they're in transformations. That's why they come to me, to reinvent themselves. Do read books, do go to talks, but go outside your normal realm and realize there's support out there. You may just have to reach out further than your immediate family and friends, because sometimes they don't give you the greatest advice. Has anyone here gotten bad advice from somebody that's their family or friend ever? Like their mom? And I'm just saying that hypothetically. Taking action and getting support are, I think, important in transformation. So am I way over? Am I good? How many more minutes do I have left? Is anyone keeping track of time? Huh?
I have no idea. 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Oh, I have 3 minutes? Okay. Oh my God, I didn't run over. Okay, this is good. So I think the idea is that everyone that has the power to transform. It takes work from the inside out to transform. It takes time to transform. Don't rush the process. Trust the universe. Don't rush the process. I think rushing the process, I think it kicked me in the butt on some things. I'll admit it. And I think kind of rushing stuff. And this time I'm going to float for a long time. You know how sometimes people say they have zero interest in men? I have negative 20. So who knows? I mean, seriously, has anyone ever had negative 20? Been in the negatives? Yes, you know what I mean, people. So anyway, so I think I'm just going to float around for a while and see where my life goes and do my work. And who knows? I'm thinking of moving. I'm thinking of leaving Columbia. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. And that's kind of me. I know what my purpose is. I know what work I want to do. And I think that's where you have to be. And, you know, I think it's liberating to not have your life planned out. Some people, that's scary as heck. For me, it's liberating to one of the mantras I do is I always say, I am not stagnant. I am always in the process of transforming. And I envision myself, I mean, this is a little crazy, but I'll just say it. I envision myself as like having wings. It seems kooky, okay? But I envision myself, like, especially when I feel like cocooned, I envision myself like my wings just blossoming and spreading out. And so that I always feel like I'm constantly transforming. And I always tell myself I am not stagnant. I am in the process of transforming. And I'm somewhere in that process at all times. But I'm not stagnant. I'm not stuck. And that's the thing I think I want to say is that stuck is the worst place to be. And even if you're kind of just getting out of your mud and you're kind of, here's your mud or here's your ball and chain or the stones you put, all the stuff, please get rid of all, you know, who has the backpack of past crap on their back? You can't move forward with that either because that means you got to go like this, right? So you got to clear that out. So I threw my stones out a long time ago and I kind of just go dee through life and then I hit a wall and then I float up in the air and I come back down. And everyone can do that with help and with support, but also with faith. I think faith and trust in the universe, trust in a higher power, trust in God, which I think is my most powerful mantra. You can get to the end of the process and you can completely transform. And you can do it however many times you darn want to. So that's my message to you. Thank you.